Mago Vanin Milon, and for those of you who don't watch Lord of the Rings or know what I'm talking about, that is Tolkien Elvish for well met friend. Since Vance is now doing he's doing all the outros or whatever, I'm doing all the introductions. Anyway, that's, as I said, I'm Alex here with Vance as always.
Yellow.
And it was last week, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was the last episode. We did an Ask Us Anything kind of thing where it was just kind of random. We thought of random questions and discussed them for 5 minutes, and we talked about the science behind Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite movies. And we're going to expand upon that discussion, just me and Vance, because we don't have a guest this week.
Yep.
So, we'll also be discussing the upcoming Jurassic World movie, which is set to come out in 2015. I don't know the exact date. I think there is a release date, but like I said, I don't know. Anyway, so Jurassic Park, could it happen? Vance, what do you think?
Um. Well, it's like
You
I
think we
said.
could
It's
think we
like I
could do it?
said. It could be do it. You see, that's such a broad question, but my broad answer is no. In all reality, I think technology has such a long way to go before we can ever reach the phase where we could even come close to replicating dinosaur DNA to creating a full
Hmm.
T-Rex. For
Yeah.
starters, all right, so let's look at it this way. When you're re the way that I saw it in Jurassic Park was they were basically cloning dinosaurs. They found
Hmm.
dinosaur DNA and they built it up and created dinosaurs, correct?
Correct.
Now, we know that cloning is possible, though very expensive. Because a few years ago, yeah, we managed to successfully clone a sheep, right?
Dude, that was almost 20 years ago we did that.
Yeah.
It was 18 years ago, actually, because I think they cloned her in 1996, the year I was born.
There you have it. So the, that worked because we had fresh live DNA to work with from the other sheep. The problem with
Hmm.
dinosaur cloning is that we don't have any fresh DNA.
Right.
We find the bones, we understand their genetic code per se, but
And
I
even
don't
then, go ahead, keep going.
but we don't have anything to work with almost because it's so old.
Right. And the thing about with the bones is there really isn't any DNA in dinosaur bones. There's there's fragments, like very very small shattered fragments that you can pull out, but it's not enough to clone. And the thing with cloning is I actually did a report on cloning 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever, in my junior year of high school, and we had to like pick a controversial topic, and I chose cloning because I'm a geek. Anyway, the thing with cloning is it's very very hard to do.
And
I
very
mean,
expensive.
very expensive. And with dinosaurs, that'd be even more expensive. But you have to have cloning is pretty much a surrogate kind of birth. You it's like you create the embryo in a test tube, and then you inject that embryo into a female to carry the baby for the 9 months, and then it's born like a regular baby. But
And
it's a
from what
clone.
I understand with the Jurassic Park, they actually since they they didn't have a lot of DNA to work with. So from what I understand, they mutated it with frog DNA.
Yeah, they injected from the segments that were missing in the DNA strands of the dinosaurs. They put in frog DNA with it,
Right. And and
which
that's
makes
kind of and to give you a brief lesson in science, frogs um obviously mate, but when there's no I can't remember. When there are when it's all males, they'll
the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park were all female,
right.
and since there are so many females, a few of them changed into males so they could breed because there were too many females and not enough males. There were no
Right.
males.
Okay. So frogs can mutate themselves from females to males if an entire community of frogs is made up of females. One
And I think it works the other way too. If it's too many males, they'll switched over to females, so some of them will. I think. I'm not a frog expert.
Right. And
But
that's kind of
oh,
what put the events of Jurassic Park in motion. They
yeah.
mutated from female to male, and it made them 50 times more aggressive.
And they started breeding out in the wild. They had, because in Jurassic Park they had trackers on all the animals that they had bred, so they could keep an eye on them they because dinosaurs are dangerous. No one's ever been around a dinosaur. They had to make sure, and they were expensive, so they had to make sure that all the dinosaurs were where they were supposed to be. But the thing was, some of these dinosaurs are starting to breed and have baby dinosaurs, and now
That
you've
didn't
got all
have
these,
trackers.
yeah, they've got all these unmarked dinosaurs running around the island. But one of the questions that I have, and I know, but when Jurassic Park was written, it was written as a book first. Came out in 1995. I think the movie was actually being written as the book was being written
Really?
because yeah, Michael Crichton back in like at that time he was a very influential writer. He was very good. Steven Spielberg approached him about a new project, and they pretty much wrote Jurassic Park side by side, movie and book,
Huh.
which is why the movie is freaking exactly like the book except for a few parts. But anyway,
The more you
um,
know.
um, they should have what they should have done, and I don't think this discovery was made at the time. Was instead of using frog DNA, use bird DNA because dinosaurs are more similar to birds. That's they've recently, and I think that discovery was made after the movie came out because
Yeah.
I know he mentions it in the Lost World in the book. I think that discovery was made. Actually, I think
And from what I
I,
understand, there is supposed evidence to suggest that velociraptors had feathers.
oh that there is evidence. Yeah, there's evidence about that. And actually, I think if I'm not mistaken, Michael Crichton actually predicted that dinosaurs were related to birds. I think there was that argument going on at that time. It was still an argument. There was still a debate about it. It was a theory, and he ended up like pulling a bunch of research and just putting it in, and basically said in the books that dinosaurs were related to birds, or at least the main character Alan Grant had speculated that. Because if you read Jurassic Park, it's insane. There's a lot of knowledge and information in there, and he makes it sound like he can pull it off, but I'm not entirely sure it could happen. I don't even know if I want it to happen, to be honest.
Well, let's look at it this way, Alex. If that discovery had been made before the book slash movie was made, and they had mixed it with bird DNA, we wouldn't have much of a story because birds don't mutate.
Exactly.
So
There would, but it'd be much better on the employees of Jurassic Park.
yeah,
So if there are any future scientists listening to this that want to clone dinosaurs and make a Jurassic Park, use bird DNA, not frog DNA.
and
You'll have major
yeah,
issues.
maybe if they had gone with bird DNA,
But it still makes you wonder. And really, the reason Jurassic Park failed was because of Nedry, the fat dude.
right?
He shut down the park systems. He shut down the telephones. He
Why?
deactivated.
Why did he do
Um,
that?
I, I'm assuming you've seen the movie, correct?
I have seen the movie, but it's been a while.
It's been a while. I actually just watched it not too long ago, so it's still fresh in my mind. Man, I'm a huge fan of it anyway. But if you remember the part towards the beginning where he's sitting in the cafe
Right?
and he's talking to that guy about stealing um, embryos from Jurassic Park.
Right.
That
Right.
the guy he's talking to is he's a rival of Hammond's genetic company, and he wants to create his own kind of Jurassic theme park kind of thing
Huh.
with dinosaurs. So he sent in Nedry to steal in the embryos to get them off the island and get them back to him. And the reason Nedry did all that stuff was to kind of slow down Jurassic Park so they would not notice that he was gone. They wouldn't be able to find him because all the cameras were deactivated, all the phones were dead, all the electric fences were down. He basically just shut down Jurassic Park entirely so he could escape, and they wouldn't notice until they got the power back on.
But we saw how well that worked out for him.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually have a. It's funny because he uses a shaving cream canister to hide the embryos. If you remember that.
Yeah.
And I actually bought the same kind of shaving cream that they use. So I told my brother Matthew, we're gonna go steal dinosaurs because we're gonna make Jurassic Park.
Sweet.
But no, yeah, Jurassic Park, as good of a movie it is, I don't think I
It'd be
want to see it.
100% terrifying.
Oh yeah, it could work if they used bird DNA to fill in the gaps, and if they don't hire some fat greasy slob who's going to shut down the park so he can steal dinosaur embryos and wreak havoc.
I think what would be a good idea is if they created a Jurassic Park, if in order to shut down the park you had two separate power boxes that you needed to shut off simultaneously on opposite ends of the park.
Well, the thing was, he did it all on a computer. The he was the whole park was controlled on a computer, and he had access to that computer. He was a computer science, like a I don't know if he's a computer scientist or just a computer geek, but he could work computers really well. So Jurassic Park was at his mercy.
Yeah, that's right.
Which yeah, and also the thing with what they did with the dinosaurs, I don't remember if they mentioned this in the movie, but I think they do. But I know it's in the book. They make these um when they clone the dinosaurs, they remove the lysine from them, and the dinosaurs needed lysine to live, or else they'd go into like a coma and then they would die. I think is what they said in the book. And what they did was they had specially made food with lysine in it to give the dinosaurs so that they would survive. So if they ever left Jurassic Park, they would die. That way, nothing bad would happen like it did in the second movie. But I think once they started breeding, in the wild, they were no longer lysine dependent and they could just, go out and hunt. I'm pretty sure that's what
Because
happened.
their parents were without lysine, they had no need for the lysine.
Right.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. That's what they did in Jurassic Park to control the dinosaurs. And he had Michael Crichton. Like, you've never read Jurassic Park, have you?
I've never read the books. I
Never read the,
I've been planning on getting it on Kindle.
I have a nice leather bound set. It's both of the books in one. And
Both,
honestly, yeah, there's Jurassic Park and Lost World. They're both books.
but there's three
Um,
movies.
three movies. Yeah, we'll explain that. I'll get into that when we get into the next half of the discussion because I want to rant.
All right.
But the book is pure genius. I mean, all the research he pulls through that, all the stuff he puts in there, it's insane. He knew what he was doing. It's so cool. Jurassic Park. Oh my god. He made it sound like you could actually do it if you knew what you were doing.
Well, that's what makes a good author. Plenty of research, and
Oh yeah.
that's why I think you might make a good author, but I won't.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of off topic, but I've been spending the last week and a half researching ancient Rome for my novel.
Ancient Rome.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting setting you got there.
It's not set in ancient Rome. It's based off of it,
Uh,
but it's fun. Ancient Rome is awesome. But anyway,
well, back to
Jurassic,
Jurassic Park.
yay. Let's not go back to Jurassic Park. That place is scary.
And fun
um,
fact, you know that scene where the T-Rex is over the car and it smashes the car and the kids are in it and they're screaming?
yeah.
Those screams were real because the glass wasn't supposed to break.
Oh, sweet.
Fun fact. That's completely off topic, but not really.
That's actually pretty cool. I did not know that, and I've read a lot of trivia on that movie. That's awesome.
Hey, I knew something Alex didn't for once.
Oh my god. It's actually about a movie too, and I'm a huge movie buff. That's weird.
Oh, oh man. Don't even get me started on that one. Alright, so you said that there are two books, Jurassic Park and The Lost World, but there are three
Lost
movies.
World. Technically four movies now. Well, will be
Well,
four movies.
gonna be four movies.
Yeah, there's Jurassic Park, there's Lost World, they're both books. They're the only books written about Jurassic Park that he did. He was still alive when they made Jurassic Park 3. Because I think that came out in 2000. I don't even know, but it came out when he was still alive. And he's dead now, so Jurassic World's going to be coming out without him.
And
But anyway,
that is why I think Jurassic World, honestly, Jurassic Park is a hit or miss on this one.
Yeah, and
With Michael Crichton, they they were good. I liked them. I really did.
yeah, oh yeah, they're good movies.
But
They're
without his
decent.
influence in Jurassic World, it's hit or miss.
Yeah, and I mean, if you ask me, the best movie out of the trilogy is the first one.
Oh
Jurassic
yeah, by
Park
far.
is by far the best movie. The Lost World is still pretty good. It's not exactly like the book. There are a lot of differences actually, but I mean, if you've never read the book, then it's not that big a deal. But me having read the book, it's kind of an issue. And Jurassic Park 3, if you ask me, was such a crappy movie. I I'm not sure exactly how I feel on it. I mean, on one hand, it's a Jurassic Park movie, and I love Jurassic Park, and I love Alan Grant. He's my favorite character. But oh my God, did they really have to make a third one without any source material? Was that necessary?
Yeah.
And now they're doing a fourth one, and from what I've heard,
Without any source material.
without any source material, without the author alive to confer with him. But from what I've heard, there's like a room. There is still no set plot for what it's about. There's no set air date. Or release date. I just looked it up. Um, from what I've heard, Jurassic World it's gonna be about Jurassic Park, but it's actually open to the public. And
What?
it's an actual. That's from what I've heard. I think it's a rumor. I'm not sure, but I've heard it's a fully operating, fully running Jurassic Park, and they open it to the public, and chaos ensues.
Right.
But the guy that plays Star Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be in it.
Ken Pratt.
Chris Pratt, yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to be in it.
huh.
I'm I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm going to go see it when it comes out, just because I love the Jurassic Park movies. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be that great.
Hmm. Nope. I do not think it's going to be all that good.
It'll be interesting to say the least
Oh yeah.
to see what they do with it.
Because whenever you watch a movie, it's split into two parts. You have the movie itself, and then you have the actors.
Mhm.
Without, if one's off balance, the whole movie's probably going to suck. If you don't
Right,
have a good movie, the actors aren't going to help. If you don't have good actors, the movie's going to suck.
right. Well, for me, I watch a movie with two lenses. If the movie is based off of a source material, be it a video game, a book, a comic book, or anything like that, I will watch it in two ways. One, is it a good adaptation of the source material? Or two, is it a good movie in general? And that's where like we'll discuss this when we do one of that topic. But for me, the first Jurassic Park movie falls into both categories. It's a good movie based
And
off the source material,
it's good
and it's
adaptation.
just a good movie. It's a freaking good movie. Like if I never had read Jurassic Park, which when I first watched Jurassic Park I hadn't, I would have loved it, and I did love it. It's freaking awesome. Dinosaurs tearing people apart. It's great. Aren't
Samuel
I?
Jackson was in Jurassic Park, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And the funny thing is, one of my friends was trying to tell me that Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and I hadn't seen the movie in a while, so I had forgotten, and I'd argued with him because I had to remember if Samuel L. Jackson was in freaking Jurassic Park
Yeah, he
because
was the one.
he's Arnold. I know his last name's Arnold. I don't know his first name, but he's the computer guy.
Right,
He's the guy that's trying to bring Jurassic Park back up and running. And
right. And he gets shredded by velociraptors, and his arm
yep,
is the only thing that just falls onto her shoulder, and it freaks her out.
yeah, the Velociraptors unarmed him.
When I first saw Jurassic Park, that freaked me the heck
Oh
out.
my God, that movie. I was young when I first saw that movie, and it didn't actually affect me too much. But then I watched it again in eighth grade, and good God, it was frightening,
Right.
which is weird. I was not scared when I was little, but I got older. I'm like, holy crap, that's scary. Maybe because I understood what was going on.
And to be, and if you really want to look at it from a technical perspective, the the CGI in Jurassic Park was outstanding.
Oh, for the time, for 1995 was when it came out. Yeah,
Yeah.
holy crap, that's. Jeez.
Yeah, they made the dinosaurs look so realistic.
It was. I
It's
think.
unbelievable.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, it was. Wasn't it? It was a combination of CGI and animatronics, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Like for the car crush, they use animatronics.
Right. And then for a lot, like in the beginning when they first see the dinosaurs, all the brachiosaurs and
That is
everything,
all
that's
CGI.
all CGI, and that's amazing. Those freaking looked real.
Mm-hmm. And how about
And
that soundtrack?
oh, the Jurassic Park theme song is probably yeah. If you ask me, the Jurassic Park theme song is the best movie theme song ever,
Yeah, yeah,
right next to
without a
Star
doubt.
Wars.
Um,
Uh,
that's a topic
um,
for another discussion.
yeah, John Williams is always a good choice for.
He did
Um,
do Jurassic Park, didn't he?
yeah, he does pretty much any movie you see um, that Steven Spielberg or George Lucas directs. Um,
John Williams.
John Williams is doing the soundtrack. It's actually, I think that's true for every one of them, to be honest.
Hmm.
Good God. But no, John Williams is a great composer, and he does a lot of good music for movies.
He
And all,
does.
and every single one of his soundtracks, every single one of his main themes to a movie is always iconic. It's usually what you associate the movie with. When I think of
Because
Jurassic
that's the
Park,
movie's theme song. That's what you're supposed to do with it.
well, right, but a lot of movies, like I could look at um, there's any movie, and I probably like Braveheart. I'm looking at Braveheart right now. God, I don't remember the freaking main theme to that.
Still have
Um,
not seen Braveheart.
God dang it, Vance, you need to see Braveheart. Anyway,
That's
but
the
yeah,
Mel Gibson movie, right?
Mel Gibson, yeah,
About
This-
William Wallace.
yeah. The sword that I bought's a miniature version of his sword is freaking awesome. Anyway, um, John Williams, I think, was the greatest choice you could make for Jurassic Park because the theme song to when they first see the dinosaurs, it captures the feeling you're supposed to have when you first see a dinosaur.
Amazement,
Person,
awe, excitement.
yeah. And then there's the one bit that goes dun 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that part. That is, I love that one. It always makes me feel so good whenever I hear it.
Right.
It's Jurassic Park is such a good movie,
But,
and I kind of want to watch it.
alright, chill out there. So, yeah. Jurassic Park, would it be possible? It's gonna be a long time before anything like that is possible.
What would you predict? How long would you predict that we get until we get
Well,
cloning
I'm not gonna
dinosaurs?
lie. Technology in today's society is advancing at an exceedingly fast rate,
Oh yeah, way too fast.
which is a good thing,
Hmm.
but you have to be careful about it. So if I had to put an estimate on when I would think we could start seeing dinosaurs, I'd say within the next 25 to 50 years.
See, I was gonna say about 20 to 30. I think that's when we're gonna see it. About 20 to 30 years.
Because like I said, it's exceedingly expensive. You have to get the
Oh yeah,
funding, and we have to find viable dinosaur DNA that we could fuse with bird DNA to begin with.
yeah. I mean, and if you think about it, and this is just food for thought, and it still relates. Trust me. Um, when I was born, I had a heart defect, and my parents were told that if I had been born 10 years before I had been born, so in 1986, I would have died. So that I mean, that's how rapidly um,
Technology
science.
advances.
Yeah, it's just how fast, and I think we're gonna see. And um, but Dolly was cloned back in 1996, and that's you know like 20 years ago, 22 years
Well,
ago,
but you have to look at it this way: they had viable fresh DNA, and I'm pretty sure Dolly was
18 years ago. What did I say? 20
implanted.
years ago. Keep
Was
going.
what?
Nothing. Keep going. I goofed.
Was Dolly actually, grown, or was she implanted into an embryo?
Ollie was so you've got the female sheep that the DNA came from. They scraped the DNA off of her udder, which is what it's like they came off her udder, so they called her Dolly because of Dolly Parton because she's known for her mammary glands. If you know what I mean. Anyway,
Go
they, they,
on.
anyway, so they take the DNA, they do their little wizard magic science stuff and make the embryo. And they take the embryo and they implant it back into the female sheep. And then that female sheep gives birth to a little lamb who's Dolly. And then Dolly grows up and becomes a sheep. And then Dolly passes away as, yeah. So she does have the life cycle of an actual sheep. She's born as an infant and then she reaches adulthood, and then dies.
And see, that's the problem with today's technology. We can implant this. We can implant DNA into an embryo and plant it in a female. We don't have any females.
Yeah.
However, I just remembered dinosaurs were born in eggs. So in theory, as gross as this sounds, we could theoretically implant DNA into the embryo, implant it in some animal that gives birth to eggs, like I don't know, chicken, and it pops out the egg. We collect the egg, and boom, out pops the dinosaur. And as ridiculous as that sounds, that's a viable option. That's possibly our only viable option for creating dinosaurs in the future.
Okay. Yeah.
But, like I said, that's going to be a while. I mean, we were able to plant DNA into an embryo, but implanting it into a situation where it would form an egg shell and being able to get the DNA, like I said, I think it's just going to be 25 to 50, maybe even 100 years. In the next 100 years, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm still saying 20 to 30, or no, I'll change it 20 to 40 years, just because I don't know how much work they're doing with cloning now. I don't know if that's really big for anyone, but I do think, Vance, that in our lifetime we will see cloning become, maybe not even just cloning dinosaurs, but I think we'll see cloning
people.
We'll see it. Cloning.
We'll see cloning.
We'll see cloning. And I think cloning is going to reach. It'll be used mainly medically. If that's a word.
Right now
we're
researching ways to create new limbs with cells, and like a 3D printer for organs is basically the hot topic in medicine right now.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the points I brought up in cloning, is that you can clone organs from the original.
Right.
From the original guy. Like, I could have, since I said I was born with a heart defect, they could clone the valve that I need from my own body, and then I'd be just fine.
Right. But that's going on right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on with cloning and 3D printing organs right now. So I expect to see a lot of research being done within the next years, upcoming years, because that's such a hot topic.
Mm-hmm. I'd quite agree with you.
So, all right, do you have anything to add to this subject, Alex?
Nope, I think we've covered everything I wanted to. I was actually quite happy with this one.
All right.
I like this episode.
If you viewers out there enjoyed this episode, enjoy us geeking out and talking about stuff that you will probably never understand, then consider leaving a rating and subscribe. And signing off, my friend Alex, be nerdy, my friend.
They see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're all thinking I'm so white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Can't you see I'm white and nerdy? Look at me, I'm white and